My name's Stacy Smith. I'm accredited public relations professional practicing for a little more than 20 years. Have been honored to be a chapter president and an accreditation chair and Bronze Anvil judge. And I'm here with two other Bronze Anvil judges and winners to share with you some tips on how to submit a successful entry. So I think I might start first, Andrea, if you would introduce yourself and tell us what you think it takes to be a Bronze Anvil winner.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Lindsley and I'm in Nashville. I'm a partner at Siegenthaler. We're the largest PR firm in Tennessee, and I'm the president-elect for the Nashville chapter. And I would say, don't let it scare you. Bronze Anvil is attainable for those tactics, but I think the key is having measurable objectives stated very clearly, and then the results that match that. And then the creativity along the way is going to get you from good to great, but you have to focus on those required elements: budget, measurable objectives, and results.
Thanks, Andrea. I'm Mark Dvorak at Golin in Atlanta. I was the president of the Georgia chapter 8 million years ago, and have always been involved in the awards programs, both locally and nationally. I think when I look at Bronze Anvils, all of us in our work would like to think that we could work on full programs from soup to nuts, where we took an idea and carried it all the way through and ended up with a big campaign. Sometimes that works, and sometimes we just have a particular communications challenge that we need to address with a few tactics. And the Bronze Anvils really gives us the opportunity to celebrate great creativity, but backed up by strategic thinking that helps an organization solve a particular problem that may not be huge or whole or systemic, or could be part of getting on that road. And it's where a lot of the real fun and creativity is.
Thanks, Mark. So let's look at that strategic thinking that Mark's talking about. There's 4 areas of evaluation. So again, these are a bit different than your RPI from the silver. So your 4 areas of evaluation for the bronze: planning content. We're going to talk a little more in depth in a moment about planning content. Then creativity quality, technical excellence, and then assessment results. So you can know, as PR business people, we're in the business of PR, and so there's a business approach to both of these awards and to our practicing PR, no matter where we are. The business of PR, we care about planning content, we care about assessment results. And then in the middle, for bronze, creativity and technical excellence. And kind of providing you a cheat sheet here, you can actually see the evaluation form that the judges use. We like transparency in PRSA. So let's look at that judge's evaluation form. Each area is ranked from 1 to 5, poor to excellent. So I would encourage you to rank yourself, or write your Bronze Anvil Award up and have somebody who maybe didn't work on it, a fellow PhD or APR, so they know what a measurable objective is, they know what research is, and have them be a judge of your work. You can see on a scale of 1 to 5, if you're a 3, if you're satisfactory, we're in it to win, right? So we're looking for good, can maybe get by because you've got 4 areas, but if you can't hit excellent in some of those, then you're winning, you're trying to win an award here to be an award-winning work. And what I even did for one of my clients was I did a mock report card, or a mock scorecard, and I took these 4 areas and I put them in and I gave them to somebody so they could score us beforehand, and it helped me judge that entry for them. So I have a question for you guys. What do you think is the ROI? What might be a business value? Honestly, Andrea, you guys are in the business of client service. You're at an agency. So every hour that you spend that's not billable, right, you're not funding the business. So what's the ROI in you guys spending time on seeking an award?
Well, we always like to say we don't do good work to win awards. We do good work to make our clients successful. If we're honored and recognized for that work, that's just a bonus. That is so flattering and means so much to us. But what we found is that you have to brag on yourself. And we're all professional braggers by trade. We brag on our companies, on our clients, but when do we brag on ourselves? You have to kind of flip that mindset. You have to let people know that you've won these awards. And so the ROI for us as an agency, I think, is for potential clients and existing clients to know that we've won these awards. For existing clients, it's a third-party evaluation that we're doing great work for you, and being able to give them that award to say, here, look, here's a statue, here's what we want on your behalf. That solidifies our relationship with them. We try not to be just a client-agency relationship. We want to be their partner in business. So that just gets you closer to them and solidifies that partnership. But for potential clients, it's a selling tool, specifically the Bronze Anvil. If you win for a tactic, and then you are pitching a potential client on that tactic, it's a website, it's a blogger campaign, it's media relations, then you can show them the case study that you just want, an award-winning work that you just did as a company, that you can show them as a case study, how you can potentially work for them. So in our business pitches and our new business proposals, we have a slide at the beginning, one slide that talks about ourselves, and one slide that shows our awards from last year. And we list them out, the numbers. We say, this is how many PRSA awards we won last year. This is how many ADDIE awards this year. And that gives a lot of credibility to the work that we do.
I will add that it's absolutely a pride thing, especially if you're in a larger organization or agency or company. You're looking to recruit and retain really good talent, and it's hard these days. But to be known as an organization that celebrates success and gives people the opportunity to show their best work and to win things, that the energy and enthusiasm that brings to the workplace is palpable, and it's wonderful. So I think you do it as much for how it makes you feel internally and keeps people excited as the external bonuses that you get from it.
Thanks. I would concur and add some of the summaries that I'm hearing from you guys is I like to work with winners. I like to hire winners. I like to train winners. Applying for an award is great for staff to go through the process and seek best practices, because these are the things that move the needle, right? We're all in the business of moving the needle, and we want measurement and we want outcomes. And so this is the evidence that not only do we do good work, but the industry recognizes that we do needle moving work. So from a hiring tool, from a recruiting tool, it's kind of nice to take into your annual review that you participated in a winning campaign internally, to present to your board of directors or internally. We've got a really good PR shop that is award winning. There's a lot of, as PR people, we know the value of enthusiasm at the workplace, and being part of a winning team can make productivity, can directly affect productivity in the workplace. We've seen those studies, we've seen that research. So part of the entry I'd like us to talk about is we have a one-page summary for the bronze. It's a one-page summary, and then, and I would suggest let's spend a moment and come back to that one-page summary. If you've got a spot-on one-page summary, then what was the actual work? What was the actual creative element? What was the actual blog, campaign, editorial, newsletter, magazine? So that needs to show well with its supporting documents. So we've had questions, what is the importance and value of the supporting documents on there? Mark, would you speak to that?
Absolutely. I think Bronze Anvil is a little bit different from Silver Anvil. In Silver Anvil, the judges really spend more time on the two-page summary, and then we'll look at supporting material. With the bronze, it's the one-page summary, and then it's actually the execution. It's the video or it's the newsletter. The supporting materials do two things then beyond that. They help prove that what you said actually happened. Not that we don't trust people, but it actually it does that, and it allows the judge to get a little bit more insight that you can't get in a simple one-page write-up. So how you present that, what you put in there, don't put too much, but put just enough that, and think if somebody who knew nothing about my activity were to look at this, what else might they ask? And those are the kinds of things, if you put in the supporting material, you're going to just help make it easier for them to want to give you the award.
Thanks, Mark. Andrea, will you help us budget time? About how long, can you give us a gauge of a recommendation for how to manage your time, and what would a time budget look like for this?
Yeah, so the Bronze Anvil should take a little less time than Silver Anvil. Again, it's one-page summary with supporting documents, but it still takes a while. And if it's your first ever submission, then give yourself some extra time. But as an agency, we do have billable goals, so we can't give someone a month to write an award. So we do have some guidelines that we have in place that over the years we've found that make sense. And we're not steadfast with these. If someone comes to us and says they need a few extra hours, then we obviously give it to them. But just as a rule, for a Bronze Anvil, we give someone about 7 hours to draft. And that is for you, the person who's drafting, the one person who's drafting. And that's to compile everything you need, to draft, to put it aside, go back to it, come back, but to finish it up within about 7 hours. Now after that, we do require that another person that's on your team proofs it, and then we have a third person that didn't work on the campaign proof it as well. So we have 3 sets of eyes. That's not included in the 7 hours. 7 hours is just for drafting. So it certainly takes more than that, but overall, I would say probably about 10 hours, and that's just a good guideline. It's a big chunk of time, but it's a good investment to do it right.
Thank you, Andrea. So what I'm hearing you say is also there's a team approach to preparing the awards. So what I've heard Mark say is, as you go along, you've done your research, you've written your plan, you've executed, you've done the element, the newsletter, the annual report, and your evaluation. So you're not creating, you're collecting.
Right.
And then you're taking that one individual's time, that may be about 7 hours, to look at that holistically and write the one-page summary as it meets the guidelines that PRSA has put out.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes.
And then have a second set of eyes look at it. And that's just always good work, right? Everybody needs a good copy editor. Everybody needs another set of eyes. And then have someone who is not related to the program look at it. So we've got maybe a team of 3 going on there. And I'd like to talk about who you've used as your kind of that third party. If there's somebody in your chapter who has won a bronze award, gets not a silver. If you're going for a bronze, you want somebody, because again, it's different criteria. So seek a match there. If you don't have someone in your chapter, if you've got an accreditation chair, they know RPI, they should have, then maybe that's a resource. You're a member of PRSA to make friends, to be friends with your colleagues, right? So make a new friend if you need to. I think it's shameless. That's what we're here for. So now maybe if Mark gets a call 2 years from now saying, I'm looking at a Bronze Anvil, you put yourself out there, Mark, so he can be available. The same thing for Andrea, right?
Yes.
So, but seek a resource within the source area for which you're seeking. And another resource I would suggest is the awards office at National, at PRSA. So go to the website, look under awards, list of staff, call them and say, I am seeking an award in category 26B or whatever, right? Because a media kit has a little bit different criteria than an annual report. And look at past media kit winners as examples, and they will email you those one-pagers. So, and again, I think one is anecdotal. So I always, when I do research, try to get 3 examples of something so you can see, because any one year that was their format, and see what several different winners did. Is that helpful? Yes. Okay. Then one more question that I had that when Mark and I were talking earlier was, how can you be your own judge and know if you can submit or if you should submit a particular tactic to a bronze?
I really do think you know when you've done really great work. I think you know the difference between I'm rushed, I don't have the time to do this well, I didn't start out with research, I didn't have a big idea, or not. You really have to ask yourself, is this doing my job every day successfully to help my organization, or was there something about it that made it stand out? Was there just, did I take a different approach, or was there an aha from the research that I embraced in terms of doing this? That's what the judges want to see. Did I maybe solve a problem that existed that nobody else has found a way to solve before? We were talking with some judges yesterday, and one of the examples was, it was a blogger campaign, and she really liked one particular entry because in a world where we pay bloggers these days, she found a way the organization found a way not to have to pay the bloggers for something. So it was something we all face every day, and it was okay, hey, that's really interesting. I want to read more. I want to see how you did this. Doing the status quo does not get you a bronze anvil, but some part of it that contributes to advancing the profession or our knowledge, or just really hitting a home run with your clients or your organization, that's how you win.
Do you want to add to that?
Sure, and just be careful and read all of the material beforehand, and make sure you're not going to be disqualified for something small. The elements that you have to include, objectives, results, budget, that's all there. But in the description, not in the evaluation form, but in the description of each category, you'll see things for those specific tactics. For example, on the blogger campaign, it said to include outgoing communication to those bloggers. And half of the entries I judged included that and half didn't. And that's something simple to include because I know they have that communication. They communicated to those bloggers. So making sure that you don't get disqualified for something silly that you have in your possession, make sure that it's all there. But then, as Mark said, did I go above and beyond? Not just doing your job, not just accomplishing an objective, but did you have a different approach? How creative were you? Did you solve a problem? Did you do something out of the box, something that stands out creatively?
And to Andrea's point, I would say, don't disqualify yourself. And by that I mean, as a judge, we can't assume you did something that we felt you did and you alluded to it, but you didn't put it in your entry. So if you have a great campaign, also check the boxes. So you're required to have target audience, a measurable objective. That means it should have a number in it somewhere, and a budget. And we've seen entries where we said the budget was our staff time, or the budget was our monthly retainer. Was your monthly retainer $5 or $500,000? I don't think we judged, and tell me, we're not judging based on dollars, right? So to us, I don't think the dollar amount, the budget dollar figure is irrelevant. Do you know are you doing good business? Do you know what your budget was because you should? Because you should, that's good business to manage your budget. And we need to see that you know what your budget was and you managed it. It could be a tiny budget or a big budget. I think that's irrelevant, but that you should have a budget. And I'd like to spend a moment, because another snag where I see people are not as thorough, and again, you have great creativity, you have some strong technical excellence, but the planning and the evaluation, you need to have a home run in all 4 categories. So you have a super creative video, but it didn't hit the target audience, then we're looking for winners and best case practices here. So planning and assessment, getting that right is really important. So I've put together some examples, and these are all past winners. And so this is what it looks like. And if your organization isn't accustomed to this, then you have examples where organizations do. So it is real. And sometimes in PR, I find we have to educate up. We have to educate up to the C-suite. We have to educate up to our VPs or laterally to our peers. And for example, I thought that this was interesting. Engineered wood planning was to gain magazine use among the sales force. And these are excerpts, and their assessment results was they surpassed the circulation objective by 23%, half the growth, and this was their magazine, half the growth from sales reps signing up prospective customers. So they wanted their sales force to adopt use of it, and they know how many sales people they have and how many signed up prospective customers. I doubt that cost them big research and evaluation money, right? So you can have internal research like that is measurable without being a big budget item. Would you speak to?
Yeah, I just want to build on that a little bit. I think about bronze anvils like I think about Super Bowl commercials. You know, when you're sitting there watching the game and there was this really great creative spot, and then the next day you're trying to tell somebody which one you like the most, and you can't remember what the product or service was. Great, it was wonderfully creative and it got your attention, but it didn't meet any business objectives. And I think to Stacy's point, you gotta do both. You gotta have that fun and creativity, but you've gotta move the needle someplace. And if you can do both, then you've won.
Yes, I completely agree. You do have to keep those business objectives in mind. As far as going back to what you said, Stacy, on budget, I saw in a couple of entries that the budget couldn't be disclosed because of the client, and you can't do that. That's a cop-out. We need to know what your budget is. So make sure that you do disclose that. And as Stacy said, we don't care how big or how small it is. We want to see that you were able to meet your objectives with whatever budget you had. And if you don't include budget, we assume that you don't know, and that's bad business.
I would say, and there's those moments where, this is just such an anvil that I'm going to set this up right, because this is also just good business, right, to follow these processes. And this is I'm going to apply for an Anvil Award for this one. However, I have worked with law firms and had done some programs with law firms, and they wouldn't let me apply for an Anvil because there were some confidentiality issues. So you have to look at these things. So we all, I'm sure, do really good work. There's also when those things come together that you're like, I can apply for an Anvil, and sometimes you can't. So if your client or your boss says, no, we cannot disclose that information, and it's required in the judging, then you might not be a match that year. And because we need the information to judge, that's part of being fair, right? To judge everybody based on the same criteria. Yes. I guess with these thoughts in mind, are there any last words of encouragement or any last tips that you would like to give us?
I would say, don't hesitate. You know, spend some time learning about what's involved. Start looking at some good examples. I'll tell you, I judge more than anything else because I think that's where I get great ideas. So spend a little time just looking now when it's not award season at what some of these great projects are. You'll get some inspiration, you'll be smarter in your next program, and you'll know what's involved. And so don't wait till the 11th hour, do it now.
And I would recommend having an awards committee. We have an awards committee at our work, and you can through the year you take note of all of the the award-worthy work that you've done, and then when it becomes award season, then you have a good cheat sheet to go with. And then that committee keeps you organized, keeps you on task, you don't miss the deadlines. So we have 3 people on our awards committee, so it's not a very big one, but it keeps us on task.
And I would suggest, ask yourself, as you probably already do, what are my 5-year goals? What are my 5-year professional goals? And as a PR executive, I would, shamelessly suggest, and I'm not getting paid for this endorsement, to seek your accreditation or your PhD or your master's in communication, whatever helps you stay on top of the business. We're constantly learning, we're constantly educating ourselves. Those are programs out there to help you be the top-notch person you can be. And then second, within the next 5 years, can you go up front and say, what is this a silver or is this a bronze? Is this a program or is this tactical work that I'm doing that can set up well in an awards category? Because sometimes they present themselves to you, and if your antenna is up for that, then you recognize it and you can set it up right very well from the beginning. And third, and I'd like to just reinforce what Mark just said, is be a judge. If you are accredited or have your PhD or other type criteria, because they want judges who understand measurable goals and the different criteria, then I think it was very exciting to be a judge. It's the reason we got in PR when we look at really good work and you're like, wow, I'd like to meet these people. Wow, that was really cool. What? That was so creative. Can you imagine being in the room when they were thinking that up? And these are the type of things that get you enthusiastic about your industry when you see top performers doing good work. So seek out the opportunity every year, once a year, to be a Bronze Anvil judge. I think that you will benefit from it. Thank you.